Someone said this to me recently. And I was like, woo, this is it. This is what people are trying to do in their narcissistic relationships all the time. Get the proverbial blood from a stone. What are the ways we do this? We wait for empathy. That's not going to come. We wait for protection. That's not going to come. We wait for respect. That's not going to come. We hope for a genuine apology and accountability that will never materialize. We hope that they'll witness our real struggle and offer meaningful assistance, or that they'll have awareness of the harm that they have done. The fantasy for anyone in a narcissistic relationship is that one of these things could happen. If you could just explain it clearly enough, get them at the exact right moment, or for some magical reasoning, they would have an awakening. You may read books on communication or boundaries or try to do that, and nothing. This dynamic is most profound when it is your narcissistic parent. Your entire life and development were based on the blood from a stone paradigm. The idea that there could be a way to get what you need from the parent, and the child then blames themselves for the blood, as it were, never materializing. This also creates a lifelong wound in the child who will keep circling back to that parent, like that hopeful child thinking that maybe this time I can squeeze some blood from that stone. This can also happen under specific circumstances. You may think you are fully at radical acceptance. You see the narcissistic patterns. You understand them. But then something serious happens. For example, you get sick or you need a major medical intervention. Well, of course, you think, this narcissistic person, I mean, yeah, they're difficult, but of course they're going to care then. Of course they're going to reach out then. Of course they're going to help then. There are times in our lives, even when we think, oh, we truly believe all hope is gone, we still think, we still hope, we still believe that there may be a few drops of blood in that stone. The day you hit the top, the summit, the pinnacle of radical acceptance is the day you never try again. You may not end the relationship or go no contact, but you stop engaging with the relationship as though it's collaborative in any way, as though this person will be there in any way. In essence, the moment of radical acceptance is when you see the stone for what it is. Bloodless, as all stones are. And what does that look like? It can look a few ways. You no longer rely on them. You always make other arrangements or seamless plan Bs, Cs, Ds, which are ready to roll. And you don't even point them out to the narcissistic person anymore. And this is a bigger power play than you know, because it, in essence, makes the narcissistic person obsolete in your life in terms of any act of service. You no longer share stuff, share stuff with them. You don't share good news. You don't share bad news. You keep it sparse and superficial and keep your struggles to yourself, your triumphs to yourself. But this only works if you have access to some other supports in your life. Friends, healthy family members, colleagues, support groups, or a therapist, or all of the above. You cannot do this unless you have that. You no longer expect conversation. Narcissistic relationships are about one-sided conversations. They talk, you listen. You talk, they interrupt. As I said before, the relationship with the narcissistic person is in essence a sort of a long, boring podcast. So receive it that way, except you can't turn it off, right? Smile, nod, make a few vocalizations. Got it. I get it. I see. And if your opinion is asked for, don't share the truth in a way that will trigger them unless you want the fight. If you're up for the fight, then go for it. In general, in these conversations, The narcissistic person is waiting for their right answer. Give it to them so you can get back to your life. You might be thinking, am I enabling them? Everyone's enabling them. But if you can't get out, you got to figure something else out. The not relying, the not giving of yourself, that's the living in the truth and the recognition that you cannot get blood from a stone, and it is not easy. It feels unjust. It can be expensive and time-consuming. It feels like the narcissistic person is getting away with something. You are in a relationship with them, and they don't have to do anything. But I ask you this. Were they ever really doing something? The thing that has changed is that you are now aware they aren't or they won't. Or if they do, it's only after epic battles. When you see that you cannot get blood from a stone, you conserve energy. Maybe you spend a little more money to have the groceries delivered. But reflect maybe on that $20 you spent for that. Did it keep you from having to interact with the narcissistic person in a battle about getting the groceries? I don't mean to be flippant, because I know it's not a small amount of money to sometimes get stuff delivered, but in some cases it could be worth it. The only way a narcissistic relationship can sustain, if you cannot leave it, is if you disempower it. Take the gunpowder out of the keg, as it were. When we try to interact with these relationships as though there is a meaningful mutual interdependence, that is a lie. That's the blood in the stone. But when we lift that erroneous assumption, then we start to interact with these relationships honestly. The disappointment lifts because we aren't relying on them anymore. The hurt may be less pronounced because we aren't having something special to us mocked, or our pain or our emotions gaslighted. I mean it, and we know it. You can't get blood from a stone. And you are even less likely to get attunement, empathy, respect, or genuine kindness from a narcissistic person. And people have wasted lifetimes on trying to do so, breaking their hearts, minds, and souls in trying to defy the laws of nature and get that proverbial blood from the stone, or overgeneralizing from one good day when the narcissistic person was in a good space, and it seems that blood did come from the stone, but it was actually a fortuitous coincidence. Heed this truth, because while it may bring up grief to believe this, to recognize that you can't get that blood out of the stone, in the long run, it can save you time and life to know this. Thanks again.